The Buddha once said, "The mind is restless, hard to control, but the wise one steadies it, the way a fletcher straightens an arrow." Maybe somewhere today, someone is lying in bed blaming themselves. Why did I say that? Why couldn't I just stay calm? From the moment you open your eyes, your mind is already loud. Yesterday's slip of the tongue comes back. That awkward moment at work replays itself. Every word you exchanged on the way home presses quietly against your chest. When you're with others, you manage to smile, but the moment you're alone, exhaustion hits all at once. Does that sound familiar? All you want is to feel at peace. Just that. So why is the mind so unwilling to settle? Today I'd like to share how a poem written 2,500 years ago quietly answered that very question. A monk named Subhuti was once found sitting beneath a rock, not meditating, not chanting, simply doing nothing. When asked what he was doing, he said, "I am resting from the exhaustion of being someone." The birds around him kept singing. The wind moved through the grass without asking permission. And Subhuti just sat there, not trying to be a better version of himself, not even trying to be calm. About 2,500 years ago in ancient India, there was a young monk with a burning determination to awaken. He had given up everything to follow the Buddhist path. And from the very first day, he practiced with total, unrelenting intensity. Day after day, he walked in meditation, hour after hour, feet pressing into the earth, mind fixed on liberation. He walked until his feet bled, and yet, no matter how hard he pushed, peace stayed just out of reach. One night, exhausted, staring at his wounded feet, he thought, maybe I should just give up. The Buddha noticed. He came quietly to the young monk's side and asked a gentle question. "Before you became a monk, I heard you played the lute. Tell me, what happens if you tighten the strings too much?" The monk answered, "They snap, and if they're too loose, they won't make a sound." The Buddha smiled softly. "Your mind is the same. Force it too hard, and it breaks. Let it go completely, and it drifts. The path is in the tuning, careful, steady, and just right." Something released in the young monk's chest at those words. He stopped forcing, he walked more gently, he listened more quietly, and in time, it is said, he arrived at what he had been seeking all along. This story breathes through the spirit of an ancient collection of verses called the Dhammapada, one of Buddhism's most beloved teachings. Its very opening words say, "Mind is the forerunner of all actions. Everything we do flows from what the mind has first become. The mind comes first, and how we hold that mind, that is what shapes our lives." The Dhammapada was whispering this truth 2,500 years ago in the language of poetry, and it whispers still, not in lecture halls or philosophy books, but in the ordinary moments we so easily overlook. In the way we grip the steering wheel when we're running late, in the way we lie awake at 3 a.m, rehearsing an argument that ended years ago. The lute strings tighten, and we rarely even notice our own hands doing the tightening. When you heard that story, did something in you recognize it? Maybe you thought, "That's me." When we want to do something well, we tighten up. We tell ourselves we have to get it right, do more, keep up, not fall behind. The pressure builds, the strings pull tighter, and then one day, they snap. The Dhammapada says this, "The mind is restless, hard to guard, hard to control, but the wise one steadies it, the way a fletcher straightens an arrow." What matters here is what the teaching does not say. It doesn't say the mind shouldn't waver. It says wavering is natural. The mind moves, that's simply what minds do. The Buddha wasn't surprised by that. He accepted it 2,500 years ago. So what does it mean to steady the mind? A fletcher doesn't force an arrow straight through strength alone. He studies it first. He looks carefully at where it bends. Then slowly, gently, he coaxes it into alignment. The mind is the same. The harder you try to suppress it, the more it resists. Tell yourself, "Don't be angry," and the anger swells. Say, "Stop worrying," and the worry grows louder. In Buddhist teaching, this restless, agitated state of mind has a name, a mind that has lost its footing, spinning in place. Calm is not the absence of feeling, it is the ability to feel without being consumed. Anger comes, and you notice it. Ah, anger is here. Anxiety rises, and you observe it. I'm feeling anxious right now. The waves arrive, but instead of being swept away, you stand on the shore and watch. In Buddhism, this quality is sometimes called equanimity, a mind that is present, aware, and unmoved at its core. What the Buddha said to that young monk, and what the Dhammapada sings in its verses both carry the same message. Don't try to force the mind into a different shape. Simply notice with care and gentleness what is happening inside you right now. That's enough. There's a story of a monastery cook who every morning for 30 years started his fire the same way, not rushing, not forcing, simply laying the kindling down and waiting for the flame to catch. The other monks would watch him and think he was doing nothing, but by midday, his fire was always the steadiest, and his rice was always the most evenly cooked. He never once burned the bottom of the pot. So how might this actually touch our lives, the ones we live today? Imagine a day at work, a deadline closing in, a manager pressing you, messages piling up with no clear answers. Inside your head, 20 things demand your attention at once. The more you rush, the more your hands seem to freeze. The stakes creep in, and then you start blaming yourself again. In moments like that, try remembering the young monk. Strings pulled too tight will snap. Just once, take a breath. One slow inhale, one long exhale. That's all. And sometimes just that small release is enough to loosen the string by one small degree. Or think about a moment with someone you care about. They said something that cut deep, something that felt unfair. Your heart reacted immediately. Anger rose, sadness followed, and the question, why would they say that, started looping through your mind. The Dhammapada offers this image. Like a solid rock that is not shaken by the wind, the wise are not moved by praise or blame. A mountain doesn't disappear in a storm, but it doesn't pretend the storm isn't there either. It simply remains, present, aware, and still at its core. This isn't about not feeling. You're allowed to be hurt. You're allowed to grieve. The only shift is this, recognizing that your feelings, however real and powerful, are not the whole of who you are. Emotions are like clouds. Today a dark one came, but the sky itself hasn't changed. Beneath every passing feeling, your awareness, quiet and watching, remains, like an open sky. For those of you raising children, this may feel especially close. When your child won't listen, when the same battle plays out for the 100th time, when you lose your patience and then feel ashamed for losing it, that shame tightens the string even further. Becoming emotional isn't the failure, it's the self-blame that follows that pulls the string to breaking. The first step toward gentler days might simply be this. Loosen your own string first. And perhaps tonight, when the house is quiet and the tasks are finally set down, you might sit for just a moment before sleep. Not to fix anything, not to review the day with a red pen, simply to notice that you are still here, breathing, present, having carried everything you carried, and arrived somehow at this stillness. If there's one thing I hope to leave with you today, it's this. Calm is not the absence of feeling. It is not running to a place where no storms come. It is simply this, noticing, with quiet honesty, what is happening inside you right now. That one small act, just noticing, begins to ease the tension, little by little. A Fletcher doesn't straighten an arrow all at once. He works slowly, carefully, a little at a time. Your mind, I think, deserves exactly that same patience. Thank you, truly, for staying with me until the end. In the middle of a busy life, you paused, and that pause itself may have loosened the string, just a little. May something quiet find its way into your heart today. Go gently then, as you step back into your afternoon, whether that means a crowded train, a waiting inbox, or a child calling your name from the next room. The arrow doesn't ask to be perfect before it flies. It only asks for one steady hand, and perhaps that is enough. One breath taken before you answer, one moment of noticing before the day pulls you back under. The Fletcher does not curse the bent wood,